You hear it all the time, right? AI is the ultimate teammate, a productivity supercharger that's going to change everything. But what if adding an AI to your team could actually backfire? Today, we're cutting through all that hype to find out what really happens when an AI pulls up a chair in the team room. So, let's just get right to it. We're asking what seems like a simple question, but the answer is anything but. Can plugging an AI into your team actually make the whole group smarter and better at making decisions? Well, to even begin to answer that, we first have to wrap our heads around this really common trap that human teams fall into. It's called the hidden profile problem. And it's basically when a team makes a totally wrong call, not because they're missing information, but because the most critical facts are scattered among different people and never get brought out into the open. Okay, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll dive deep into that hidden information problem to see why good teams make bad calls. Then we'll look at a wild experiment that actually put an AI on the team to try and fix it. After that, we've got to talk about the unexpected, very human cost of working with AI. Then we'll connect all these dots with a really cool theory about making mistakes. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a practical playbook you can actually use. All right, part one, the hidden information problem. Before we can see how an AI might help, we really need to get a feel for how easy it is for a group of smart people to get things completely wrong. Let's see this hidden profile thing in action. So picture this. Researchers create a hiring committee, and their only job is to pick the best pilot from 4 candidates. Simple enough. But here's the twist. The best candidate, a pilot named Gamma, has all these great qualities, but that info is split up, so each person only knows a piece of the puzzle. Meanwhile, the information that everyone shares actually points to the wrong candidates. It is a perfect trap. So if that's a classic human problem, how do you fix it? Well, that takes us to part two, where the researchers did something pretty radical. Yep, you guessed it, they put an AI on the team. Here's how they set it up. They made 3 different kinds of teams. You had your control group, just 3 humans, no AI. Then you had 2 experimental groups. The first group had 3 humans plus an AI that was basically all-knowing. It had every single piece of information. But the second group had 2 humans and an AI that only knew what one of the humans knew, so the info was still scattered. And this is the part I love. They didn't just hand the team a piece of software. No, they introduced the AI as Alex, a full-on collaborative partner, a member of the team. This is so important. Alex wasn't just a tool you use. Alex was a teammate you work with. And the results? Whoa. Just look at this. The team with only humans, they picked the right pilot only 30% of the time. Ouch. Now, adding an AI that had the same blind spots as a person barely made a difference, just 36%. But the team with the all-knowing Alex, a massive 84% accuracy. I mean, that is a night and day difference. So here's the kicker. Just having an AI on the team wasn't the magic bullet. In fact, when the AI had incomplete information, the humans basically just ignored it. They couldn't verify what it was saying, so they just fell back on their own gut feelings. It was only when the AI had the complete picture that it could act as a circuit breaker for groupthink and guide the team to the right answer. But, getting the right answer is only part of the equation. And that brings us to section 3, the lonely collaborator. Because while an AI might be cranking up your team's performance, there's a very real, very human side effect that we have to talk about. There's a real paradox brewing here. Even as these AI systems are making our teams objectively better at their jobs, they might be quietly chipping away at something really fundamental about how we connect with each other at work. Which gets us to a much more personal question, right? Forget the performance metrics for a second. What does it actually feel like to have an AI as your work partner? So a 2023 study dug into this exact thing. They looked at real employees, biomedical engineers, consultants, people in the trenches. And what they found was pretty stunning. For people who naturally have a higher need for connection and reassurance, psychologists call this attachment anxiety, the more they worked with an AI, the lonelier they reported feeling. I mean, you can see that clear upward trend right there on the chart. And why is that? Well, it seems that collaborating with a non-human partner just makes us crave actual human connection even more. It's like it highlights what's missing. We are fundamentally social creatures, and when that interaction is replaced by a machine, we really feel that void. Okay, so on the one hand, an AI teammate can make a team way smarter. On the other hand, it can make us feel more alone. How do we square that circle? That brings us to part 4, and a unifying theory that ties us all together so brilliantly. It's all about the power of getting things wrong. So, the old way of thinking about human-AI collaboration is what you see here, specialization. The AI does the number crunching, the human does the client calls. Different tasks. But there's a newer, more powerful way to think about it, ensembling. And that's when the human and the AI do the exact same task, side by side. Now, the goal of ensembling isn't to be faster. It's about something way cooler. It's about combining two totally different perspectives on the same problem. The core idea is that humans and AI make very different kinds of mistakes. And when you combine their answers, their different errors actually start to cancel each other out, leaving you with a much, much better answer. So why do they make different mistakes? Well, it all comes down to the kind of information they use. AIs are absolute masters of what we'll call data type I, the hard stuff, right? Resumes, spreadsheets, databases. But we humans, we have a monopoly on data type 2, the uncodifiable stuff. Intuition, reading the room, that gut feeling you just can't explain. And this is the light bulb moment. This takes us right back to our pilot hiring experiment. The all-knowing Alex was so successful because it created a perfect ensemble. The humans had their fragmented views based on incomplete type 1 data. Alex came in with a perfect, complete analysis of all the type 1 data. It introduced a powerful and, more importantly, a diverse viewpoint that was different enough to shatter the team's biases and correct their mistakes. All right, so now that we have the theory, the big question is, what do we actually do with this? How do we apply it? That brings us to our final section, the Human AI Playbook. Let's make this practical. Takeaway number 1, and this is maybe the most important mindset shift. Stop thinking about AI as just a tool for automation. Its real superpower is adding cognitive diversity. The goal isn't to get an AI that agrees with you. It's to find one that challenges your assumptions, that surfaces blind spots, that thinks differently. And second, we have to actively manage the human side of this. We cannot ignore that data on loneliness. If your team is spending a lot more time talking to machines, you have to be deliberate about carving out time and space for real human-to-human connection. Because adding an AI doesn't just change the workflow, it changes the entire social fabric of a team. Which really brings us to this final thought. The best AI teammate isn't going to be one that thinks for us, but one that helps us think differently. The real question moving forward isn't just what tasks can we automate, it's what kind of new thinking do we want to invite onto our team? So, how will you build yours?